What is going on with crypto this week? We'll examine the recent weakness for Bitcoin and more. I'm Jenny Horne. Welcome to Crypto Corner. Beyond the charts, we'll also be talking about some headlines from Jackson Hole and why a Fed governor is warming to digital currencies. Joining us this week is Adam Lynch, director at Schwab Equity Research. Adam, last week we discussed how Ethereum was soaring. This week, it's a bit of a different picture for some of these crypto tokens and, of course, these crypto exposed stocks. So walk us through really the trends you're seeing from the charts as of late.
Yeah, sure. It's no doubt been a pretty rough week for cryptocurrencies as well as cryptocurrency related equities. I don't think it's anything to be alarmed by. I think what we're essentially seeing is a healthy pullback here after a pretty big run up over the past couple of months. We've also got Fed Chair Powell speaking this Friday. And I think there's a little bit of profit taking going on before he kind of gets into his comments. Never sure what's going to go on with something like that. Let's start with Ethereum, though, and we're taking a look at the charts. It has been on an absolute tear after hitting a low of about $1,500 or so back in April. Of the charts we're going to take a look at, this is the only asset that's actually up this month. It's up about 15% here in August. ETH is trading around 43.40 today, above its 50-day support, which sits around 3,500, and the 200-day moving average is down around 27.5. So all of the technicals look pretty strong for that one, and I don't think there's any real concerns there. Bitcoin's a little bit of a different story. It's underperformed ETH so far in September, but it's still only down about 2% or so this month. It has crossed its 50-day moving average of about $116 this week, and other support levels, I guess, could be next if the trend continues. I think the most important level here is, and will sort of always remain for the near term, that 200-day level, which sits at about 100 grand, right? As long as Bitcoin remains above that level, I think it'll be fine. The crypto-related stocks, though, it's a little bit of a different story here. Strategies, Circle, Coinbase, they've all been hit very hard in August. Strategy currently sits at its lowest price since April, down about 15% this month. The good news is that they're still buying Bitcoin. They've added over $50 million worth the past week, bringing their total Bitcoin holdings to over 629,000 coins. They broke all the support levels this week, 50, 100, 200 day. So it could set off some of the alarm bells for technical traders out there. Probably the one that we want to keep a closest eye on. Circle, issuer of stablecoin USDC, is down the most of the three stocks this month. It's off about 25%. Now, they reported their financials last week and showed some great growth in stablecoin usage, which I think the market really appreciated. But unfortunately, it hasn't been enough to keep the market happy. And finally, Coinbase. It got a pop earlier this year. You probably remembered it was added to the S&P 500, giving cryptocurrency exposure to pretty much everybody out there, all those investors holding SPY. But it's struggled with the broader crypto market recently and is down nearly 20% this month. The good news for this one is that it's still well above its long-term 100-day and 200-day moving averages, which are both down around $270 or so. I think the stock's trading up around $340. Each of these has had a pretty rough week, as we can tell, so hopefully things turn around for them next week.
Okay, and Adam, you did mention Fed Chair Jerome Powell, so let's turn our attention to Jackson Hole. It's not only the Fed's meeting taking place there. Really tell us about the Wyoming Blockchain Symposium.
Yeah, it has been a very busy week out there, right? There's a ton of stuff going on in Jackson Hole. This week, Salt and Kraken are hosting what's called the Wyoming Blockchain Symposium. It started on Monday and it runs through tomorrow. The theme of it is essentially driving digital finance forward. They list three goals for the event. One, to catalyze more forward-thinking digital asset regulation. Two, to create a more decentralized global financial system. And three, to essentially drive greater institutional understanding and adoption of blockchain technology. The speaker lineup was pretty impressive. It had folks like SEC Chairman Paul Atkins, Chris Waller from the Fed. Some of the topics they discussed were the state of digital assets, the future of essentially the industry, the future of Bitcoin mining in America, investing and building Bitcoin companies, a lot of excellent topics. Some of the news that came out of it was pretty interesting so far. We had Wyoming becoming the first US state to issue a stablecoin. It's called the Frontier stablecoin, ticker FRNT. And a couple other interesting notes from the conference. We had Mooch, Anthony Scaramucci, maintaining his year-end Bitcoin price of 180 to 200K. And then Atkins and Waller both came out and made really strong arguments for more engagement with innovators in the industry.
Yeah, and we know Fed Governor Michelle Bowman did speak Tuesday at the SALT conference. So what comments also really stood out to you in her speech?
Yeah, hers was great. There was quite a bit. The overall theme is that regulators out there need to change and adapt to these new technologies. They need to depart from what she referred to as their overly cautious mindset. She talked about how these regulators need a better understanding of the industry, the products, the technology. She made a couple of comments about how the Fed and others, sort of in the past, have operated with inertia getting in the way of any of the progress that they're trying to make. And she seems very determined to change that. She shared a little bit of a story about a conversation that she had with Sam Altman of OpenAI, where they discussed essentially the two-sided impact that AI can have. Take fraud, for example. AI can be used to commit it, but it can also be used to fight against it. And she kind of sees digital assets as having the same two-sided impact. She wrapped her comments up by saying that these regulators have a choice: either embrace change and help shape a reliable and durable, stable framework for the future, ensuring safety and soundness for digital assets, or stand still and essentially allow the new technology to bypass the financial sector altogether. What is at stake and what could be the end game here? Well, if they don't adapt, if they don't make these changes, then what we're going to run into is banking and the entire industry essentially falling behind and playing a diminished role in the world of finance going forward.
Yeah, and as we know, it's been another interesting week, and I'm sure we will get some further developments ahead. So definitely keeping our jobs pretty interesting. But thank you so much, Adam Lynch, as always, for the commentary. That will do it for us here. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for every episode of Crypto Corner. I'm Jenny Horne. Thanks for watching.